now that I was working for the president of the United States, thinking that I finally made it. I finally
Mhm.
am. I mean, this is a kid from Brooklyn that doesn't have to be on teeter totter.
Who came up with this freaking master plan to use Ukraine as a vehicle with Hunter Biden to attack Joe Biden in anticipation of him running for president? Whose brilliant idea was this? Do you know? It's your Okay, so how much time did you do?
Well, I got blessed
Bottom line.
because I bottom line I did ended up doing four. Well, if you include the house arrest, I ended up doing 4 years. But in actual prison, 4 months I served in prison, and then I served another 3 weeks in solitary confinement during this
Mhm.
whole procedure.
This is Black Man Spy.
Hi, I'm Malcolm Nance, and welcome to this week's episode of Black Man Spy. Our guest for this week is my friend Lev Parnas, who I am on every Thursday on Substack with Lev Parnas and Michael Cohen in a little segment I like to call Two Felons and a Spy, where we talk about news of the day. Lev Parnas was a special advisor to President Trump, worked for Rudy Giuliani, and is the host of Lev Remembers on Substack, and was the Emmy-nominated documentary along with Rachel Maddow for From Russia with Lev. And with that, we're going to go on a long conversation because the background of Lev Parnas lends credence and information to everything that is happening today. And he has lots of friends in the administration who like him and still leak information to him. So let's hear what Lev has to say this week. Lev Parnas, welcome to my world. Welcome to Black Man Spy. I usually got you on your podcast or on the Unleashed podcast on Substack with Michael Cohen every Thursday, which I love to call Two Felons and a Spy. And we get to talk about all those issues. And there's some of the biggest things that, it goes from Substack and it gets automatically put on YouTube. And I get a lot of feedback from that. And of course, you are beloved in that sense because, unlike most people, you and Michael Cohen have the most experience of people who actually worked with Donald Trump and his cabal on a day-to-day basis. Can you give us some background on how you came into the orbit of Team Trump, and then why you have a Emmy-nominated documentary about what happened to you?
Oh, thanks. First of all, I'm so excited to be here on your podcast. First time, Malcolm. This is a real treat. And for your audience, I want to give a shout out because you're incredible. The information, the stuff that you bring with it's just important because we're living in a time right now where people need to wake up. America needs to wake up. And sometimes you need that, just say it out loud and say, just wake the up.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying to you. So yeah, I came into Trump's world in a different way than Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen worked for Donald Trump. He was his lawyer, he was his fixer, he was by his side for over 10 and a half years, and their
Mhm.
relationship was primarily business oriented. I came into Trump's world, even though if you in my documentary, as you see, our lives intertwined over my life and his life, from me working for his father at 16 years old, selling Trump Tower in Brooklyn, New York, to being at different events, social events, to also in the 90s when that big Russia invasion of that Soviet Union, when the fall of the Soviet Union and all that money came rolling in into the Trump buildings, and when he was being the dry cleaner at that time, a lot of our worlds interacted. And then finally, when I moved down to Florida, back here, between Ivanka Jr., different events, it was just life kept intertwining, but never on a personal matter, never on a business matter. It was just more social, more. I always kind of looked up to Donald Trump growing up in Brooklyn, wanting to be, because of the way I grew up, not growing up without a father, looked up to him
Right.
as one of these, powerful, rich businessmen. And then came that one day, I got a call from my son Aaron. He was 15, I think, at the time, telling me, "Hey, Dad, getting into politics, and I think because he, as a young child, thought saw me in the circle, said your friend Donald is running, your friend is running for president. I was like, really? At that time, I was doing my own hustle in real estate. And I'm thinking, who's my friend that's running? And here, and
My
here,
who?
by who? And then, I turned on the TV and I see, him standing on the golden, escalator running for president. And that kind of started it.
Wait,
Uh,
wait, quick. Where does that golden escalator come from? Tell us about the golden escalator. Everybody makes reference to it. I've never been in Trump Tower. Where does that go?
I mean, I don't know the history behind why go, but it's like right down in the middle, of, like right in the center of like it's like a presence. I mean,
Uh,
everything just like what he's doing with right now with the ballroom. It's all about a scene, and that's like when you walk in there and
mhm.
then you go through the middle of the lobby, it's like it's right there. So anyway, him coming down, and I was like, I got mesmerized by the situation. Thing, wow, because to me at that time he was a regular guy, just that we all thought in 2015,
Mm.
from that he was like anti the system. Everybody was tired of the Clinton regime, of the everybody was at that time kind of you know, even people that were not in politics, like myself, that I was never in politics at the time, kind of got interested in it because you kind of felt one of our guys had a chance of actually getting in that type of mentality, and that's where
Right.
that cult mentality grew to what we see MAGA, where how MAGA evolved. It was us against them. It was our mentality, and it was the regular guy. It was us against the politicians. It was us against the deep state, and that's how it started evolving, and through a period of several dinners and events that we ended up going through. I ended up becoming part of that hardcore MAGA uh, family, to the point that the last month, right before the election in 2016 in November, that whole October, I was with him. I was with him front and the stage when he debated Hillary Clinton in Las Vegas. I was with him at the Hilton when he won. I was with him at every rally leading up to it, and then right afterwards I was kind of, because just like you see now what's happening, back then it was a small group of us. Now
Hmm.
you see all of these enablers that are enjoying the rewards of King King Donald coming in, Donald Duck coming
Right.
into office. Back then there was not as much, but yeah, there was a small group of us that believed in him, that became kind of like that family, that
Hmm.
obviously we were at all the events. Back then, I was not given an ambassador or a special envoy because he was still scared of the deep state, like he did now with Steve Witkoff. Back then,
Hmm.
we were doing everything in the shadows. That's why my
Right.
book I call Shadow Diplomacy, because it was all, there was that picture perfect group of people that fit, as he says, straight out of central casting. And then there was the real group of people, just, and you're seeing it play out the same way right now. History is replaying it. You see Steve Witkoff, you see Jared Kushner and others that are actually doing the work, and then you got people like Marco Rubio out
Yeah. Who's a schmo, right? He's been
there.
set
Yeah,
up as a
yeah.
schmo. Well, this brings them to mind a question before I let you continue. So what you're saying is in Trump one, they were testing the waters. They were just trying to get used to things. They bought all these normalcy in. And now in this one, they're like, hey, we can steal as much money as we want. We can do whatever we want. I describe this in my book, Plot to Destroy Democracy, that they now have, at that time, I thought that they had we're gods. We are untouchable. Now they're convinced of it, and money has joined them. Money is with them. Like he has the top billionaires in the world standing behind him, not government members, the top billionaires in the world. And he has completely embraced oligarchy, would you say?
Oh, 100%. And you have to understand, in his first term, he did not know how the system worked. He never thought he was going to win. Let's start off with
Right.
that. It wasn't him winning was just as big of a shock to everybody, to us, to him, and everybody that day. So it wasn't about. Let's start when we came in. When he came into, I was part of the transition team. I mean, it was made of the
Mm,
of like the Three Stooges type of situation. I mean, he had no people on his team that served in anything in politics that he brought with him. Usually, as somebody that would be coming into office, there was no transition
mhm.
where
Right.
where there was no nice relationship with the Obama team. Obama just basically left the keys and left, and you know what I'm saying to you.
Well,
There
I
was,
understand that that they
they had nothing.
literally ordered everyone not to communicate with the
Right.
Obama team.
Oh yeah, no, it was, and I'm saying to you, it was that type of a scenario that it was like,
Mm,
but and this is what's important, everybody needs to understand about Donald Trump. Donald Trump grew up in the world not only of authoritarian, but he grew up in a world where he looked up to a guy named Cohen. You know, what I'm saying not
right.
Michael Cohen, but Roy Cohen.
Roy
Roy,
Cohen. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. He has the thing for Cohens, I think. So Roy Cohen was also a lawyer, but he was a mafia lawyer. He taught and introduced and put Donald into a position. He was like a father figure to him at a certain point, and taught him all of these ways of the ruthlessness of learning the insides out before he take it over. And that's why when Donald came in the first time around, he didn't know how to use the government. He didn't understand the powers. He didn't understand where everything lied. He didn't have alliances. Everybody was against him. It wasn't just the Democrats. Remember, the Republicans also. He had no
Hmm.
friends. It was, and that's why he kept firing everybody, because everybody wanted to. So it was a total situation. But what he
Hmm.
did learn, the most important thing he learned, is because of all the things he went through the impeachments, the attacks, and everything that he was able to survive. He learned that the powerful part of the government that he needs to make sure that is loyal to him was the attorney general.
Right.
And he understood that he didn't get that with neither Pete Sessions. I mean, not Pete Sessions.
Jeff
Uh,
Sessions.
Jeff Sessions, excuse me,
Mm,
and he didn't get that with Bill Barr. So
mhm.
this time around, he understood he needed to put loyalists in there, because that was one of the most powerful tools where he could go and use to become intimidate and to them. And that's why you see right now between Pam Bondi and Cash Patel put into these positions of loyalty.
And we
It's
warned about this for four
yeah,
years nonstop. For 4 years, we were
yeah,
screaming, these people, when they get into power, will be on a revenge tour, and
yeah.
they will change the attorney general into a mall lawyer for Donald Trump, a personal lawyer for Donald Trump. And like you and Michael both discovered, will use the government as an instrument of revenge and vengeance, not
And
as an
money.
instrument meant to and money and to make money. I mean, just
Make money.
crazy
That's
things.
that's the key
So
too.
so you were working with Rudy Giuliani when he was doing the supposed operations to get Zelensky to come up with a false narrative about Joe Biden. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so basically it was one Rudy Giuliani was trying to get back into the good graces of Trump, and uh at some point he was working behind the scenes at that time. It was with the Paul Manafort stuff, the Black
Right,
Ledger and other things, looking into the servers, if you remember, it being in Ukraine instead of Russia,
right.
all of that crazy conspiracy
Yeah, the
things.
conspiracy theories. Right,
Yeah, trying to prove that it wasn't the Russians, it was the Ukrainians involved. And then one day, I remember, I'll never forget it, that it was in November 2018. We were in the Grand Havana room, sitting up there, usual Rudy having cigars, drinking, talking about, what country we're going to take over, what world we're going to. Just incredible thing. I mean, just thinking back at the conversations that we would
wait,
have.
okay, did they actually talk like that? Was this literally mafia, mafia capos
Oh,
sitting around
oh,
discussing how they're going to take over North Jersey and everything? Did they speak about the world like that, or was it national based, or was it, we're just going to make money off of this?
there's a combination, because first of all, you have to understand
Mm,
Rudy idolized the mob.
Yeah.
He wanted to be he wanted to be more of a mobster. He actually ended up being a prosecutor because he couldn't he wasn't able to be a mobster, but he really
Hmm.
idolized it. And I mean, every conversation you would have with Rudy, he would make comments from The Godfather. Me and him got really
Oy.
close because. Growing up in Brooklyn, growing up in New York, Rudy put a lot of people that were close to me that I knew in prison. Uh, I mean, one of them, being Fat Tony Salerno, who used to be
Mm.
the head of the Genovese crime family. I used to date one of Fat Tony's illegitimate daughters at the time, a long time ago. So me and Rudy had a lot in
Hmm.
common. Rudy put him away and used to tell me stories how he sent him cigars to prison, stuff like that.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, like So yeah, so Rudy idolized them, and he even made comments saying that mobsters had more decency and more than democratic politicians. That was the way they talked, the way the way they acted, because that was their real inner soul. It's not what you see on TV. And the same thing goes with Donald Trump. That's why you see Donald Trump's the way when he really gets angry. You see how he lashes out at reporters with insults. You see how he's getting to that point of like, I don't care what you say, I'm gonna go do it. Like, oh, you're telling me I can't. Well, I can do that. Do you want me to show you how I could pardon this one or do that one, just to show it to you? Just to even think about how crazy the conversation yesterday. He pardoned a cryptocurrency
Yeah.
guy, and his that I mean, the FBI, the reports. I mean, this guy was literally everybody said funneling money for Hamas, funneling money
Yeah.
for terrorists, and Trump's response was like, it don't matter. I mean, the Biden's process. It was under the Biden prosecution that they went after him, and a lot of good people told me he's a good guy, that
Oh,
nowadays it shouldn't be a crime. But what people don't understand is this is being set up for what really is happening behind the scenes. It's the crypto takeover that Donald Trump and his kids and Steve Witkoff and his son Zach Witkoff are doing
right.
behind the scenes. So
Yeah.
they need to loosen up the rules. They need to make
But
this
Donald
like so they could
Donald
then use
was
it.
not a big supporter of crypto
Oh, no.
5 years ago. No, he was against it because it was he. No one explained to him that it's not, or someone explained to him it's not really money. Right now, you have what you call safe coins and things like that, where real money is backing it, and then you get into a circumstance where technically he's being told he can be given money for free for nothing if it's in this form, and then you can go cash it out. And then if we secure it with funds of the Treasury of the United States, it's like you just looting the Treasury. But all of that aside, we're going to get back to the modern world. Where did your downfall come from?
I mean, which
Why
way?
is
Like,
our podcast Two Felons and a Spy? I know what Michael Cohen did. What happened to
uh,
you?
I mean, it's crazy. Me and my wife used to talk about all the time. I even, now with some of my grown up children, I even
Mm,
talk about. I've done a lot of things in my life. I mean, I've never been really bad. I mean, I don't consider, I've never done crimes where I hurt somebody physically. I've never, even though I've been around that world and I've been, most of the things that some of the worst things I've done were financial crimes,
mhm,
because I grew up in that world where the stock market of the penny stocks, the Jordan Belfords I used to work with, like that type of world, uh,
mhm,
and I never got in trouble for it. I never got arrested. Never, because I always tried to, kind of be on the line. Like even if I crossed the line, I still try to, be that guy where I never really pushed it because like some of my friends made billions, tens of, I could have went to that level where, and might have got caught, might have not got, but I
right.
always, I always teetered on the line my whole life, and I always was in that world. And here, now that I was working for the president of the United States, thinking that I finally made it. I finally
Mhm,
am. I mean, this is a kid from Brooklyn that, doesn't have to be on teeter tire. I don't have to. I mean, I'm getting orders from the president, from congressmen, from senators. I was working with Devin Nunes at the time. He was the head of the
mm,
judiciary. I mean, I was working with, Derek Harvey, Cash Patel. I was, say to you, Pam Bondi. I was asking me to go to lunch because I was the main supporter of Raga, which was the
Mhm.
Republican Attorney General Association. You know what I'm saying to you? Josh Hawley was calling me because he was running for Senate at the time. He was the Attorney General of St. Louis. I mean, these are the people that like I was like, Pete Sessions would call me chairman. You know what I'm saying? He'd call me up and
Right.
call me chairman. I mean, and here all of a sudden I get arrested. I get arrested for what? And they when I got arrested, they called it first treason. Basically not treason, but it was espionage. My first charge was
Under the
because
Espionage Act.
under the
Mhm.
Espionage Act. And it's interesting how this whole world comes out because the reason who pushed for my investigation and arrest, if I could take us back a little bit, how it all
Yeah.
happened, it was then Senator Blumenthal and
Hmm.
Senator Kamala Harris. Before she was vice president, she wrote a letter to the FBI saying to that Lev Parnas and Igor Fruman need to look investigated because they're in Ukraine on behalf of Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump
Right.
doing the stuff. So the FBI starts looking into that.
Well, they
That is
weren't wrong, were
no,
they?
no, no, because remember
They were.
correct, the ambassador, because the ambassador from Ukraine would call him and say this is what's going on over here.
Mhm.
So now the investigation opens up. But the investigation opens up, and the letter was written. This is during a lot of people don't remember the history, but we had an interim attorney general at the time. His name was Whitaker.
Mhm.
Between
Mhm.
before Bill Barr came into office,
Right. Right.
because Sessions was Trump wanted to get rid of him, so he needed. So while this investigation is going on, simultaneously Bill Barr is being pushed into the office by who? By a group of lawyers, a couple by the name of Joe DiGeneva and
Joe
Victoria
DeGeneva,
and
Victoria
Victoria Tenta,
Tensing.
which later
They're a
happened to
husband and
be,
wife duo, right?
yeah, they later became my partners in crime, my lawyers, my
And
they
Fox News analyst.
correct,
They were both on Fox News.
and
Yeah.
they were Trump's lawyers behind the scenes, and we were part of our BLT team.
Right.
So basically, I'm sorry, I got that track. What were we talking about?
Oh, well, you talked about how you had gone with DeGeneva and Tensing after they had put in the letter to have you investigated, and Whitaker
Oh,
came in.
right. So Whitaker come in. So at the same time, now they're pushing because you also have the Mueller report happening. So they're
Right.
pushing
Mhm.
that we need to get the Mueller report gone. So we're pushing to what to happen is to get Bill Barr, because Bill Barr was not a Trump loyalist. Bill Barr was somebody that was literally brought in to take care of the Mueller report. Bill
Right.
Barr had no idea what he was stepping into, because the first day Bill Barr gets into office, the thing that gets first report FBI investigation that gets put on his desk is the Rudy Giuliani Lev Parnas investigation, because
Right.
Rudy Giuliani was part of it and he was the president's lawyer at the time. So as soon as Bill Barr gets into office, they're like, "Look at this, boss. This is who we're following." This
Yeah.
is what
Welcome
Rudy.
aboard.
Welcome aboard. This is the Russian propaganda information that's being peddled on Fox News right now, and it's coming
Mhm.
from Rudy Giuliani and Lev Parnas and all these guys coming. So Bill Barr doesn't. What does Bill Barr do? He continues, allows the investigation to go on, but oversees it. Oversees, watches it play out to make sure to see, how it's playing out, where it's leading, where it could go. So
Just as
while
long as it's not going to lead to Trump.
correct, that's the most.
Mhm.
So he wanted to make
Which
sure
is
that
why I noticed Giuliani didn't get prosecuted, but you did.
correct, and that's exactly right, because it was always this was always about Donald Trump, how to isolate him, because the reason why Bill Barr allowed it to continue is because I fit the perfect mold.
Right.
When he took a look at my background and saw everybody I was associated, where I grew up, how I got there, he understood that I was very easily, that if he put my thing into the media would destroy me, and I could go sit there and tell them I was sitting smoking weed with the president, nobody would believe me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I could do
Right.
You know what I'm saying to you? So they knew that that's why he allowed it to continue. At the same time, he was trying to, because he was not a Rudy fan either. You know, Bill Barr
Mhm.
was not a Rudy Giuliani fan. So he had to say,
Oh,
oh, no, yeah, no, Bill Barr and Rudy Giuliani did not get along. They were at odds. Rudy hated Bill Barr to a
but
degree.
were they really at odds, or was this that Trump strategy of pitting everybody against each other and all lying about each other? Did Bill Barr
No,
just
no.
really not like
No, they were
Giuliani?
at odds because they had two. Well, we had two different agendas. Bill Barr did not want this whole Biden stuff going on. Bill
Hmm.
Barr did not want Rudy, me, and Bill Barr wanted to. Bill Barr didn't want. Pompeo didn't want it, and because of that, they became enemies to Rudy.
Mm,
That's how Bill Barr. That's why Trump started hating Bill Barr, is because Pompeo and Bill Barr started becoming putting. Why did this whole thing play out with the ambassador? Trump tried to fire her 4 times. Pompeo
right.
wouldn't do it. Nobody would do it. Nobody would actually execute his orders until
Yeah.
he actually
Being
went on.
adults.
Right, until he actually went onto X Twitter at the time and basically said, "Get her out of there." And then they had to get her out of there at 1 o'clock in the morning for her, because they started literally fearing for her safety. Because then you had other nuts out there like Robert Hyde sending me text messages, which the FBI had at the time, saying that she's under investigation. They're like watching her every move she's doing and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. I mean, you like.
Who's they?
We still don't know who they were. This was Robert Hyde was. I mean, he's a character of his own. He
Yeah.
was hardcore. He diehard MAGA, ex-marine. I think he had PTSD.
Yeah.
Drank a lot. Had a colorful background, but he would hang out in the lobby of the Trump Hotel, and he would obviously,
Mhm.
that's where our office was. My Rudy, our office. So he would constantly hear, like everybody else knew our business, that we were gathering dirt on the Bidens. And then when it became knowledge that the ambassador Yovanovitch was now enemy number one, because Trump couldn't fire her, and she wouldn't allow, because remember, why did she become the enemy? Because she wouldn't
Mm.
allow Victor Shokin, the prosecutor, to come. She canceled his visa to allow
Right.
him to come to here to testify in front of Lindsey Graham, and to be
The
able
dirty
to say
prosecutor.
to be able to say that Biden influenced them to stop the
Quick
investigation.
aside.
Yeah.
Who came up with this freaking master plan to use Ukraine as a vehicle with Hunter Biden to attack Joe Biden in anticipation of him running for president? Whose brilliant idea was this? Do you know? It's your eye. Okay, for those who are not watching the video, he just raised his hand.
I
Oh, it's
mean,
your genius idea?
I'm
Wow,
telling you,
thanks a lot.
because that's what I'm saying to you. That's why
I honestly did not know that. That was a straight up question.
it was what happened. This is what I'm trying to say to you. They were under going after the Manafort stuff. They were going after
Right.
to try the black book, and then when we were sitting in the Grand Havana room, which I didn't finish telling you the story,
Yeah, go on.
what
Oh,
happened
good.
was Rudy sitting across from me and Igor,
Mhm.
and I'll never forget what's his name walked in there, Al Sharpton, because it would be we just because we were Al would sit in back, like literally back to back with Rudy, and they would hate
You
it. I
gotta
mean,
be
it
kidding
was
me.
just like the
You gotta be
things that would
kidding
go. I can't, the stories. I mean, I'm going to write a separate book one day about the things that went on at the Grand Havana room between all the different characters that went in there. But anyway, Rudy's sitting there. Trump calls him. And the crazy part, either Rudy would put it on speaker, or Rudy would the phone would be on so loud that you could even hear the way Trump would scream at him. You could even hear it like from his side. So Rudy would always have to get up in the Grand Havana room, because you had Sharpton and others around for him to go into a private room to speak to Trump. So Trump calls him up, and he takes the call, goes out, comes back, and he's like starts telling us some stories about how they're going trying to connect him, Manafort to the Black Ledger. This is crazy, and the Russians, they're connecting him to the Russians. He doesn't even know where Russia is on the map. This is the conversation we're having,
Oh,
right? And then all of a sudden, Igor, my partner at the time, he goes to Rudy. He goes, "I watch this," and he turns around and he plays him the video of Joe Biden standing there at the what's it called, when he makes that famous speech where he says if you don't fire the prosecutor within a
Right.
few hours, you don't get $1 billion.
Mhm.
And this is where Rudy turns around and looks at
But
that.
Igor has that on hand.
Yeah, no. Igor had
Igor Sechin.
Igor had all the information. Igor like
Hmm.
he shows it to him, and Rudy looks at this. I'll never forget this. He had a drink in his hand. He put the
Of
drink
course.
in, and he goes like this: "We got you, Joe. We got him." And then he literally takes the phone, tells me to follow him. Me and Igor followed him into the next room, and he puts Trump on speaker. He goes, "We got him. We got him." He goes, "Wait till you hear this one." And then he takes him off speaker, and then he goes like this and starts going, telling him the whole thing. Comes back. He goes, "Okay, we got to go to the White House." So this was like end of November, and we were thinking about how do we do it, because back then they were scared of the press catching on
Mm.
to like Trump's relationship to me. Or see, now they don't care. Now they just do whatever they want to do, and they don't care who. Like right now, Trump would make me like probably like ambassador to Ukraine, if anything. You know what I'm saying? He would.
Right.
You know what I'm saying to you? If this was going back then, but back then
Right.
they were scared. They were it was all shadow diplomacy. So we're thinking, okay, how are we going to get in there? And I remember I say, hey, we're December 6th. We're supposed to go to the Hanukkah party, so we're going to be at
Right.
the White House at the Hanukkah. So Rudy goes, aha. So he picks up the phone, calls Madeline, which was
It's the secretary, wasn't it?
secretary to Trump. He calls Madeline, goes,
Right.
Madeline, I need to be on the list to go to the Hanukkah party. She goes, Rudy, you're going to the Christmas party. Why are you going to the Hanukkah party?
Yeah.
You're invited to. I'll never forget the conversation because he had a speaker, and he's like, no, I need to tell the boss I need to be there at the Hanukkah party. I'll explain to him everything, and before I get there, I need like about 30-40 minutes at the private residence before we go out there. She's like, okay, I'll let him know.
So he
goes, okay.
uses the schedule as a vehicle to mask his
It was
meetings.
always like, we always had like some kind of
That's
event.
Mafia
Like
Don bullshit.
always
He's going to have a
that.
spaghetti dinner at this restaurant. He
Correct.
just happens to show up 15
Show
minutes
up.
in advance.
Exactly. It's even
Yeah.
like when Trump sat down with Zelensky at the Vatican. Remember, it was like,
Yeah.
it was like it's all those things. But like take that. But anyway, so Rudy is we hatched the plan that we're gonna go out there and do this thing. So we get there to the Hanukkah party. Rudy goes to the advance. First of all, we go in the back end. Rudy goes to the private residence, brings Trump up to speed about what we just told him, and then all of a sudden I get somebody, Secret Service comes to me in the hallway. They go, the president wants you in the red room. So we go to the red room, me, Igor, Rudy's girlfriend at the time, Rudy, all of us, we're at the red room. Actually, I've never released a video of this. I'm going to release video of me, all of us in the red room. Nobody's ever seen this video of it.
Okay.
I have. So we're in the red room. Christmas is beautiful, snow outside, and then all of a sudden, and Trump was giving a speech at the next room. After he's done with the speech, you hear him screaming, "Where's my Rudy?" You see him walking in, and Trump and Trump's walking in first, and then behind him you have Kushner and Vice President Pence at the time, Mother Pence holding his hand right back to him. You know what I'm saying to you? And you hold up, yeah. The whole entourage walking in, and we're standing like this, right? So we're standing, and I had my son Aaron with me at the time. Nobody's ever heard this story, I don't think ever. So my son Aaron was there, Igor's son Rudy's girlfriend's mother. You know what I'm saying to you? We were all standing there, and Trump walks in, and the first thing you see Trump, when he sees the lady that Rudy was with, he makes a beeline straight to her, and Trump comes up to her, and he goes like this. He goes, "And who are you?" and Rudy's standing there all proud. Now she wasn't Rudy's girlfriend. Let me make it clear, because let me reframe myself. She was female that Rudy tried to have as his girlfriend, but that never worked out. So Rudy's standing there.
I mean, it depends.
It did have, trust me. Yeah,
he escorted him.
So Rudy's standing there making this face like to Trump that like she's with me, like, and Trump's like, my boy Rudy, as he's saying, my boy Rudy, you see what's her name?
You
Melania
know,
walk in and back him and smack him, huh?
smacked him.
Smack him on the back like she go like this, like
This
push
is
Trump.
something that the media ignores. I've heard this from you. I've heard this from Michael and other people. He's a horn dog.
Oh my
If
God.
a beautiful woman's in the room,
Oh my
he'll
God. I
hit
could
on
tell you
her in a
stories.
heartbeat.
I could tell you stories at the golf club
Okay,
and
so
remember
one of these days you're going to have to tell me a story. This is a sailor you're talking to, right? It's not
yeah.
like I haven't heard or seen anything like this. But it's a weakness, and that he has. So he goes in, and Rudy is now going to brief him on how to take down Joe Biden. Is that what we're getting into?
Yeah, basically. So, I mean, the plan was that we were going to go to Ukraine, find Victor Shokin, bring
Right.
Victor Shokin here privately, have Lindsey Graham and certain other loyal senators and congressmen like Kevin McCarthy and others that were going to privately interview him
Right.
because we didn't trust the FBI, we didn't trust the deep state. And once
Mhm.
they got him on record, then they were gonna go after Biden and
Right.
everything and Hunter and all of that. So that was
And
the
to
plan.
explain that, Viktor Shokin was the dirty prosecutor general of Ukraine. He's a Yanukovych hangover, pro Moscow, anti America, pro Moscow oligarch money. That's what he
Yeah,
was really there for. And the administration had literally said U.S. foreign policy for Ukraine hinges on you getting rid of this dirty prosecutor in general. The guy's a complete criminal
yep.
sitting in the job, and Joe Biden pushed them to get rid of him when he was vice president, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right.
And
This wasn't, yeah, it wasn't Joe Biden's. This, first of all, it was Obama's policy. Joe
Obama's
Biden,
White House,
right.
right?
It's not Joe Biden. That's the funny part. They go after Joe Biden like Joe Biden took over the White House and said, you know what, I'm going to do whatever I want. I
Oh,
mean,
but well, come on. They say that now that Obama was never
right.
president, black guys can't be president, and that it was always Joe
Yeah.
Biden making up dirty machinations with Hillary Clinton moving the strings,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. Every
I could,
conspiracy theory you could
yeah.
come up with.
I could tell you totally opposite. Obama run till now. It wasn't Biden. Obama is still. I could tell you a lot more powerful.
Obama's his own man.
Oh yeah, I could tell you that. I could promise you that. No, Biden did not run the White House when Obama was there, 100%. But yeah, so the plan that was hatched, and again, when I say me, I mean we hatched it together. Is that listen? We have because Rudy was once Rudy was convinced that that video was basically black and white. We have him as extortion, bribery, whatever you want to call it. Rudy as a prosecutor put a diagnosis as a doctor on it and said that's it, black and white. That's what there's nothing there. He didn't need any background, needed any story. That was it. Then we built a story around it. So then the story around it had to be is where he goes, we need a story. So that's when in December when we were in the White House, that's when Trump sent me to Ukraine the first time.
Right.
That's when we went to find Shokin. And in December 18th, 19th, around that time, we flew to undercover to Ukraine, and we found Victor Shokin, and we were able to have a meeting with him where he basically, in not so many words, said that Biden, because Shokin himself was playing a dual role at the time, he didn't trust Trump, he didn't trust the Biden. He was trying to see because he's corrupt, and he was trying to see which way. Which information that it wasn't money at the time. It was basically he wanted to get back into a position of making money, which was he wanted to get back to becoming attorney general.
Right.
Because as attorney
because
general,
you can shake down anybody if you're in charge of the judiciary.
Well, just put it to you this way: the last attorney general, I think, made off with like 200 million. Just to give you an example, so that's
of course you want that job.
You know what I'm saying to you? There's certain jobs. I mean, because people's freedom is at stake, people's business is at stake. So that's why now you're seeing the same thing play out here. Why Trump took over the DOJ and took over this attorney general, because now the same thing's playing out here in the United States, what you never thought of, because that's where the power. Once your freedom of speech, once your freedom of go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, fast forward to how you got arrested and went to jail for Trump.
Oh, well, so basically, I mean, once they opened up the investigation, all of this is happening. Bill Barr is being told all this information. Now the whistleblower complaint comes out. If you remember, in
Right.
September of that summer, the whistleblower complaint comes out, and in the whistleblower complaint, two things happened. First of all, that's when we were officially named, me and Igor, as Rudy's guys on
Right.
the ground. But the important part, what happened was, who was the first person to see the whistleblower complaint and held it before he released it to the media? Bill Barr, just like
Bill
he did with
Barr.
the mall. Right. When Bill Barr saw it, he understood, that's it. We're going to get once the Democrats get a hold of me and Igor, especially Igor at the time, because Igor was a character in his own way, could barely,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? He understood that we're going to get subpoenaed. We're going to get what's it called. And now we're running a chance of one of us talking, telling what's really going on. So what do? Bill Barr now does not need to get to the bottom of any facts. Bill Barr needs to now shut us up.
Right.
So what does he do? He knows, because they're following us. Bless you,
He's
bless you as
blessing.
we say, for the truth.
I'm
Because
getting
you got,
allergic to this story. You keep
I
mentioning
mean,
Bill Barr. I got
I
my own
mean,
history with that
yeah,
guy.
I mean, well, because you gotta understand. I mean, you had every national intelligence use somebody as worked as national. You understand? We had every alphabet, say, from the CIA, NSA, FBI, following us. We all over the world. They were using technology like voice recognition. So as soon as they heard my voice somewhere, wherever I was in the world, right away they would record it. I mean, and they gave me stacks like papers like this blacked out that they wouldn't even get. So this is the stuff that they were
let me
doing.
let
Yeah.
me let me give you a little hint. I'm sure that this may or may not have been explained to you. Even if you're a U.S. citizen and you go overseas, we can NSA cannot target you,
Correct.
but
That's what my lawyer said.
until they believe
National
that you
security.
are working with a foreign
Target.
power
And
and
that,
a
thank you.
FISA warrant is issued for you, you have all the rights of Vladimir Putin.
And that's what they
The
did.
whole
Thank
system will
you.
turn on. That's
Thank
why
you.
you're seeing black pages. That's transcripts. And
Correct.
then it gets handed over to the FBI when you land in the United States. That's a different group of guys.
Correct.
Interesting.
In the they followed me. They had FBI as waiters at the Trump Hotel. They had
Yeah, of course
FBI
it did.
in Vienna serving sausages to me at the places where I used to go. I mean, this was a fun. So I just
I
want you to
would be
understand.
so
So,
flattered.
so you have I was like, so you have such a big operation going on, and how do they decide to arrest me? Just think about that. So we go. I get a phone call from Vienna on October 8th saying we
Vienna,
have
Austria.
Vienna, Austria.
Yeah.
I get a phone call saying we have the hard drive. Hunter Biden hard drive, the infamous
Mhm,
Hunter
right.
Biden hard drive. So we have the CEO. Oh, excuse me, the CEO of Burisma is going to come down and give it to you. He only wants to meet with Rudy Giuliani. I call Rudy. I said, Rudy,
Mhm.
what do we do? Rudy says, get your ass to Washington, D.C., and we're going to Vienna. Well, this is it. This is the one. I go, okay. He goes, and we need Victor Shokin there. So keep in mind, at this moment, Victor Shokin was hiding, saying that his life is in danger, that the Bidens are trying to kill him, poison
Okay,
him because
that's weird.
so this is happening all at the same time. Nobody
Okay.
can find Victor Shokin. All of a sudden, Victor Shokin's in Vienna. So now we're all going to Vienna. So now I come to this is an interesting part of events that plays out that never really. This is why it's important that the information get. People forget because so much things happen.
Right.
So October 8th, October 9th of 2019, literally we're literally 6 years away from what happened. I land in Washington D.C. and we go to Fox News, where we have a meeting where the Fox News gives us their corporate office, a conference room where
This
we
on
get
the
together
ninth floor of that
in Washington D.C.
in
Correct?
DC. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then we get in there, and then they come in, and in there we meet me, Victoria Tunzing, Joe DeGeneva, John Solomon, Rudy
Yeah.
Giuliani, Sean Hannity walks in and out. What's her name? Laura Ingraham. I mean, and
No,
this
of
is
course,
where,
all the heavies.
and this is where it is discussed that now how are we going to blow this up? We got the hard drive. We're going to Vienna. What's the plan? Now, keep in mind, I already have tickets, one-way tickets, because we would get one because we didn't know if we're going for 1 day, 2 day, 3 days. It didn't matter right
Right.
now. So we got one-way tickets for all of us. Rudy's going to
Mhm,
be on that plane with me. Victoria and Joe's on the plane with me and Igor. Was John
mhm.
Solomon. We're all going to Vienna. And Sean Hannity, we already, and I have text messages, has Fox takes a studio in Vienna. I have the address
Oh,
where
which
we're
which which brings an interesting question. Who's paying for all of this? Because I know you're flying business class, right? Or you flying first
oh,
class?
first class. Oh,
First class. So you're talking
yeah. Oh,
$10,000
oh,
one-way
oh,
tickets.
yeah. We're talking, and who's paying? Dimitri Firtash.
Oh, that's Russians. Okay, go on. Fertaj, a oligarch.
Yeah, remember he's the one that paid Victoria Tunzing $1 million that
Right,
movie that
right.
they
Oh,
did to
Jesus
represent
H.
it,
Christ.
So
I'm having flashbacks.
there's a whole story
So
behind
you're
it.
about to get on this flight.
So we're about to get so we the plan is hatched now.
Right.
As we're leaving Fox Studios, all of a sudden we get to back to the hotel. Rudy wants a few drinks, so we're staying
Which
at the
hotel is
lobby.
this?
Trump International, of course. That's the
Oh,
only
of
hotel we
course. Oh,
yes,
okay.
yeah.
For those
So
silly me.
yeah, I'm sorry. So we're sitting in the lobby in our office. Rudy's getting his 10th, 11th drink on already, before we
Yikes.
have to take him upstairs. I get a call from
Yeah.
Victoria Tunzing saying, "Listen, Lev, Joe is not feeling well. We're not going to be able to make it tomorrow morning. But you guys, you and Rudy, you guys have it handled. We'll be here if you need. Call. I think
Is this
nothing of it.
legit?
No, listen
Was
to
that legit?
no, it wasn't legit because watch
Oh,
what happens
hell.
next. Watch what happens next. This is why I'm saying to you how this
You
is
know
all
what?
played.
You know what I say. My Nance's law, right, of intelligence, kismet, right? Coincidence takes a lot of planning,
Oh,
and
a
it's a
lot of planning.
coincidence that they just happen to get sick
Sick.
and can't get on the
Right.
airplane.
But
Go on.
it keeps going forward. More coincidence.
Oh,
So
I can
now
feel this one.
so now we wake up in the morning and our flight is at like 6 in the evening, but we usually would meet
Of
9
course.
in the morning at our office, which was the BLT restaurant at the Trump International Hotel. So we meet
Okay.
Rudy. Rudy even had a little sign there said Rudy Giuliani. Literally, you could make this shit up.
Okay.
We'd be sitting there, and people would walk by. I mean, this is the type of stuff. As we sit there, people would walk by, mega, all kinds of conspiracy theories, and drop off different paperwork, CDs, drives of all kinds of different, from the pizza
Mm.
connection to all kinds of stuff that for us to pass on to Trump. And I mean, this is going back to 2000. So imagine if this was going on back then. Just
Mhm.
imagine the type of shit that's going on right now, which is like
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
I can't even explain to you. So we're sitting there talking, and all of a sudden, Rudy gets a call. Because remember, we're preparing on flying that day later on, all of us. And Rudy gets a call, comes back and says, "That was Madeline at the White House. Trump wants me to see him today at 6 o'clock. So I have to cancel today." He goes,
Dun, dun.
do me a favor, and but this is the important part, because this is where he got me. Because Rudy, one of the things he had fear to set up for him was some crazy opera. I forgot the name of the opera, but you can't get into it. It was like impossible. And Rudy's an opera whore, and fear
Mhm.
just like pulled some favors and got him like VIP. What's it called? So that's why I never thought he would not go. Just on that alone, forget about all the Shokin, Hunter Biden stuff. Like in my mind, I couldn't even, what I'm saying to you. But all of a sudden, now Rudy cancels that morning. So now for the next of the 3-4 hours, we're sitting at the Trump International Hotel. They're eating, talking, getting ready for our trip. So the
Mhm.
FBI is following us. They're getting ready to arrest us that day. They could have arrested us right there. They know they have our tickets, but they don't arrest us at the Trump International Hotel. They wait.
Stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
yeah.
So what you're telling me is that everyone was given a call by someone related to Bill Barr to
Even
say, don't
even
be near
Berman,
these guys.
even
Don't
fucking
be near
Berman.
these guys. And so Rudy gets this call. It's not about that. It's get clear of these two guys. They're going to be arrested. Is that what is happening there?
100%. I don't know if
Oh,
Rudy's being
geez.
told. I don't know if Rudy's being told we're getting arrested. I don't know because I see at that point I'm still out till this day. I can't believe that Rudy and them were told exactly we're getting because remember we're going to get Hunter Biden's laptop. This was something big for them. I'm thinking about that. These were real distractions being
Yeah,
set
but
up
if the
to distract Rudy from not being there when the arrest takes place.
but if the Attorney General of the United States is communicating with the director of the FBI that two close associates with the president are about to get
But,
rolled up,
well, correct. But they
there's a
need
conversation that has happened somewhere
right.
in
But
this stream that
it
didn't involve you.
and I don't think I don't but I also don't think it involved Trump. I don't think it involved Rudy. I don't
Ooh.
think it involved any of
You
them
think this is
because
Bill Barr on his lonesome?
yeah, 100% because Bill Barr was trying to
Ooh.
protect Trump. Because if Bill Barr was to tell Trump at that moment that he was going to arrest and stop us from going, Trump wouldn't allow him. Because remember, we were
Right.
going, they would stop him. So what I think, what not only do I think what I would bet my life on what happened is
Right.
Bill Barr, okay, and Berman and all of them that because see, SDNY wasn't ready to arrest us either. They had no case
Right.
on us. They
All
had
right.
no, you know what I'm
Sorry, gonna
saying to you.
adjust the light.
Right, they had no case. That you know how it works. They need before they pick you up, they already have you with us. They didn't even know what to arrest us on. That's why they charged us with espionage. They needed 2 weeks to shut us up. In my original indictment, I had
Hmm.
co-conspirator number one was Congressman Pete Sessions.
Right.
They dropped that later because they didn't even know what to because the theory that they arrested us on to shut me up and shut us up was that we were spies working for the Russian government, infiltrating Donald Trump, feeding him all this Biden
Oh no,
Russian
no.
propaganda.
Left.
That's what the original, that's why that they were making it, and they thought that with the power of the media, because the media was ripping me apart, me and my family, everything that we were they fed them such lies. The FBI fed them such lies and everything. I can't even tell you. Now I know, because now I know all the media personalities
But
that wrote
Lev,
those stories about me.
someone within that sphere decided you two would be, the foils here. You
Bill
two
Barr.
would be
Bill Barr.
moose and squirrel.
Bill
And
Barr.
that you two were going to take this, and the narrative would change to protect Trump and make you two enemies to the point where the deception, all the investigations that are happening would steer to you two and would
Correct.
protect Trump.
Correct.
Did you ever, no one has ever determined where that conversation has happened. Because in my world at the National Security Agency, this is called the third conversation.
Oh,
There is,
yeah.
I can tell what's going on in your world, and I know that there's a conversation missing between
Yeah.
A and B.
I'll give you more.
So
I'll
is
give you
this
more.
all Bill Barr on the down low?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
Bill Barr
Jesus.
orchestrated all of this because this was Bill Barr's whole game plan. Because remember, Bill Barr was trying to shut down the impeachment procedures. Because
Right.
he was trying to, so what happens if me and Igor get arrested? That's it. We're
Mhm,
not testifying in front of Congress. We are inserting our fifth. But something
mhm.
else happens. When we get arrested, who are my attorneys? All of Donald Trump's attorneys. Remember,
Right, right.
It was John Dowd, Kevin Downing. They gave me their attorneys. And what did John Dowd tell me in prison? Shut the up
Shut
and
up.
shut up, take your medicine, and listen to what Trump tells you. What did the postcard that was sent under my door from Rudy tell me? That don't worry, Paul, you got good lawyers. Paul Manafort only got 8.5 years. You know what I'm saying to you? It
And
was
this was widely discussed in news media at the time. I was at MSNBC, and it was clear you guys were supposed to be the lieutenants that were going to take the fall, right? And you were going to shut the F up.
yeah.
And same thing with Manafort, and that was going on. So how much time did you do?
Well, I got blessed
Bottom line.
because I bottom line I ended up doing four. Well, if you include the house arrest, I ended up doing 4 years. But in actual prison, 4 months I served in prison, and then I served another 3 weeks in solitary confinement during this whole
Mhm.
procedure separately.
And then
And
you had
then
COVID release.
I had COVID release, which I had house arrest, which was I had some of the most grueling bail conditions prior to. So, I mean, I was on 24-hour lockdown at home for 3 years, prior to and
Hmm.
after,
No,
and then serving. I mean, that's like
and
prison. I
no,
can.
you didn't have an ankle monitor or
Oh,
anything
ankle.
like
Oh,
that?
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I had ankle.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying to you. I had ankle monitor. I couldn't leave my house to walk the dog. I couldn't if my child got sick and I had to go to the emergency room. I couldn't go. My wife had to go. So I could like literally. I could not. There would be like very strict. I would get
Hmm.
monitored every day. They would come check out. I mean, I can't even tell you the hell I went through. And
Right.
and the reason I went through that is because if they would have charged me with what I went to prison for and what I originally got charged with, I wouldn't even have bail probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would, but they needed to charge me with espionage, where they tried to give me
Right.
zero bail. They tried to remand me, lie. I mean, and try to put me back here because that was their whole game. They tried to shut me up, and
Yeah.
and that's where their whole game broke and unfolded is when I
Okay.
started talking when I did my interview with
All
Rachel
right.
Maddow.
So you like Michael Cohen, which is why I love talking to you two guys, because it's one thing to hear the psychological insights of Mary Trump. It's an entirely different thing to talk to somebody who worked with intimately, not just Trump, but of the capos, right? All of his lieutenants, his consigliere, who got sent to prison for 3 years, in house arrest, same thing. There is a mindset when you talk about being in the mind of an enemy operation. It's not only what happened historically, it's the decision making process that gives us precedence. And in the intelligence community, right? Precedence is the number one thing that we look for. And then when we see all those norms constantly being carried out, it's the anomalies that are out there. The problem that I have now is this entire White House is an anomaly. They do not care about nothing. And one of the things that I wrote in Substack this week, an article called "The Man Who Wants to See You Dead," was a conversation you and I and Michael Cohen had about, how Trump was a total pussy. He doesn't like to, he won't order someone to be killed. He has to hint at it like a mafia don, and then somebody takes care of it. And you guys were adamant that that person who will have Americans killed is Stephen Miller. Have
Oh,
you met that
absolutely.
guy?
I've I've had the fortune of meeting all of them.
Oh,
Remember, we
jeez.
were close. I've never was close with him. Thank God. I've
Who
never,
is? I mean, you
you know,
don't come out at night. You don't drink blood.
yeah, no, see what happened with in my world is I went from being in the center of all of their lives, like literally because remember I was there first as a donor. We donated a lot of money to also then we became family because we were in that part of the
Mm,
inner circle. But when that transition of us becoming shadow agents for Trump in on this whole Biden stuff, at that point they started distancing us from everybody because at
mm.
that point they needed to cut the line. At that point, I was dealing with already people like CIA agents. I was dealing that were working on our side. Like I was working with people like that were, for instance, that worked for Devin Nunes at the time.
Right.
One was Cash Patel. The
Cash
other one,
Patel, his
Cash,
freaking deputy, right? His the
absolutely.
White House leaker.
That was
Uh
the Midnight Run,
what a
remember?
snake that
Yeah,
little fool is
he's the
and
one that,
was.
yeah, I mean, and the other one was Derek Harvey, a
Ah,
three-star general. And Derek
right.
Harvey was my, guy that we literally did interviews of all of these corrupt Ukrainian prosecutors to dig their. So this is, I was working with not only with the FIB, but we were working with like deep inside, like I'll give you another name, Pete Morocco. I don't know if you know that name. You should take a
Mm,
look at, he used to be under Vance. He's a very interesting guy. All these guys right now are all part of Russell Vought, Stephen Miller's. What's going? These are
oh,
people like
jeez.
this is the group of people, and these are serious. Back then, I remember I was dealing with them on Venezuela, not even
Hmm.
Ukraine, because back then Venezuela was a major topic because of not only of the people that the money guys, the oil guys that wanted normal relationships with Venezuela because of the oil contracts that they were going to get, but also because you had the Boltons of the world that wanted to take Maduro out. And you had
Right.
there was even an interesting, I'll never forget, when we had that call with Maduro,
Right.
and then after we spoke with them, Rudy literally left the Trump International Hotel, said, "I'm going to see the boss. I'm going to the White House to tell him exactly." He's on his way, he gets to the White House, and in the Oval at the time, who happens to be there is Bolton and Pompeo. They're talking about Venezuela, and
Right.
prior to that, if you read Bolton's book, also Bolton writes about how they were already like pissed at Rudy because Trump was telling them they needed to listen to him about Ukraine. So now Rudy walks in there, and as they're talking, he says, "Listen, we gotta give Maduro a soft landing."
Right.
Bolton walks out, streams out the Oval, catches Rudy outside. You could read it in Bolton's book and my
Yeah.
book, his book. That's what I'm saying to you. It's so crazy. Like, and
But fast
yeah,
forward to today,
yeah.
that meeting, those discussions, why are we having a flipped script on Maduro today? Why are we out killing innocent people in the Mediterranean? Or let me put it this way, people who are accused just by driving pangas into the Gulf, into the Caribbean Sea. What is going on here? I mean, I can tell you from the intelligence perspective, I knew there was a finding as late as July that was very clear that the U.S. military was preparing either for a sanctions regime or a arms embargo or a national embargo. What is the state of the game that's going on with Maduro now?
Well, I'll tell you just why I believe. I think what it all has. Well, there's two pronged now. I mean, originally this plan even came about when I remember when we were talking. Even I don't want to mention certain people's name yet.
Yeah,
No, but there'll come a time maybe, but that they said, listen, it doesn't matter. I mean, either we give Maduro a soft landing, or I could walk in there and put a bullet in his head. We need to take Venezuela. That oil belongs to us, the United States.
that's it. So it's
You know what I'm
about the
saying?
oil reserves of Venezuela.
Correct. And especially now that China, and that's why and Russia, and the relationship that Maduro's, it's slipping away. So that was the major part of it.
Does
But
does Trump
yeah,
view all of these opposing world leaders as Mo Green, right? Somebody to shoot through the eye while they're getting a massage. I mean, if I have half Tom Clancy and half freaking Godfather going on all the time, is this a good
that's yeah, that's
characterization of it?
I mean, that's a great character because I mean, he grew
Oh,
up. He
Jesus, we're
grew up.
screwed.
Because he grew up in the world of idolizing mafia bosses, but also now he's graduated to a world where he's around real spies, real KGB agents, real dictators, real Tom Clancy shit. And he, say real stuff that now in his orbit he's combining the two because he's
Right,
not a
right.
real dictator, but he's close enough to being a mobster than a dictator, but
Well,
he's try to play like fake it till you make it, and that's why you're seeing some outrageous shit because even dictators, I'm sorry, even dictators, even authoritarians try to pretend like they have a democracy. They lie to them,
right,
like
like they have
they don't
some
they don't
popular
come
support.
right, they don't come out like Trump and say, well, I'm going to do it because I can, or I want to, or because I hate 50%. Even dictators come out and say, I love all my people, even though they're going to kill half of them.
Well, this goes back to the Stephen Miller question because now this is the most contemporary question that we have based on your background. Now that we've got this long world of them trusting you, then using you as the fall guy, even showing us this impact of their previous discussions about Venezuela impacting the combat that they're doing today, which is has us on the edge of a war, at least at a very minimum, on a national embargo of that country. But they've already said they're turning inward. And I wrote Stephen Miller is the guy to do it. You said he was the guy to do it. If there's going to be a person who orders Americans killed, not thinking, but getting the hint from Trump, where Trump won't make that decision. Trump won't say, go kill those people, go shoot them. He will say, do something about them. And Stephen Miller's the guy who will order people to shoot. Is that still your position?
He's already did that. I mean, you have his own words
Mm.
standing in, I think it was in Memphis, where he stood there and made a major speech saying, "You are now unleashed. You are
Right.
now unleashed to do whatever it takes, whatever you want to go get the job done." He already says it when, talking about the attacks on these boats, saying that
Mm.
we can and the president has the right. See, Stephen Miller is the person that basically, and Russell Vaught and all of
Yeah.
these group of people, they find ways to legalize and justify in their sick way in their head
Right.
to Trump that he could do it, and that's
Yeah.
that's the dangerous part. That's where
I,
go ahead.
I refer to this as master of the universe attitude.
Yeah,
What are you
yeah,
going to fucking do about it? We can
yeah.
do any fucking thing we want. And why don't Karl Rove did this, right? We're going to do something, you can analyze it and talk about it, but we're changing history. And then we're going to do something else and you can analyze and talk about that. And by the time you figure out what we're doing, we've already changed the entire shape of the world. That's now appears to be incorporated as the policy from Trump. Be confrontational, be mean spirited, be angry, and your operating system is, do I look like I give a fuck?
Well, the biggest thing, and this is what when I was part of MAGA, what we built MAGA on, and the
Mhm.
biggest, and you know better than me probably, and you could tell us on the psychological warfare of how you're able to get to this part is you're turning you first of all you have to divide the country, you have to
Right.
turn us against them, and when you live in a country like America where we are, we have that sports attitude, where we have that hardcore do or die once you believe on one side or the other, that's what they've been called, that's what they're doing, and once you install that into a large enough group of mind, that's why now you could do the next step is take over
Mhm.
what the attorney general, the authority, the oversight, the actual oversight that could do something, and then that's why now you see it's like I don't give a shit. I mean, literally. I mean, just think about it. He lied to every. I mean, he lies every day, but the fact that he lied and said that he was not going to destroy the East Wing, a historical part of American history, to build his. Whatever you want to call it,
Ballroom, whatever it is.
ballroom, yeah. But we have pictures and video of. I mean, he literally demolished it. I mean, history gone one day, and
One
that's part of
123-year-old
100,
wing of the building.
123 or for no reason. I
And
mean,
and the worst part is they didn't do architectural salvage on any of it. They took a backhoe to the existing structure and reduced it to trash. There's columns in there, windows that were 120 some odd years old, woodwork that was handcrafted American wood,
they could have built
backhoe.
around it. It could have been so incredible for and stood there for centuries to come for people to see. I mean, this is what our history. This is, but that's a great example, Malcolm. And me and you always talk about. You say it like all the time. I mean, that's who Donald Trump is. He shows you. This is he's not trying to fake it. Like that's what I'm saying to you. Like even dictators wouldn't have destroyed it. Would have tried to
Mhm.
save it. They would have got both. They would have got their
They would
grand
have kept
huge
the wing and put the
exactly,
ballroom next to it, or
exactly,
or taken off a
exactly,
small part and connected it using
exactly,
that.
exactly.
Now there doesn't even appear that there's going to be a walkway
Well,
to
well,
that building. That
well,
building's going to be connected to the
uh,
main
the main
residence.
absolutely, but that's not even it. The reason why he did it
Mm.
is because part of everything else he's doing that they got is it's changing history. It's the same thing. It's the same thing how he wants to get rid of the 2020 election, saying that it was
Yeah,
rigged, it was stolen. It's the same way January 6th was not an insurrection; it was a deep state a cover up with the
but
FBI.
I think it's simpler than that. I think it's straight from Goodfellas, right? You want me to put up a ballroom and I have to go through a planning commission to do that? Fuck you, pay me.
But
All
that,
right. I want
but
to do this. Fuck you, pay me. Right.
correct.
You ain't going to make it. We're not going to fund government. Fuck you, pay me. I'm going to do what I want when I want. And what are you going to laugh? Are you laughing at me like I'm a clown? Ha ha. I think these films are in his head
It's not
because
only the
he.
films. He lived it. Remember
Oh,
Roy Cohen, Tony Soler,
good
all these
God,
people. He
God
remember
Almighty.
remember he built buildings in New York City in the 70s. This is a time where Sammy the Bull Gravano, these are a time where these are the people that controlled those same windows that we're talking about. This is who he, so believe me, I'll tell
Mm,
you, it's not only movies. Donald Trump, and that's why in my documentary I talk about why our lives intertwine so much. He lived it, he learned it. And right now, again, you're saying 100% right. You're seeing the mentality of a dictator, what he wants
right.
to achieve. So he sees Putin, he sees Xi, he's studying already. It's the second term, it's already 10 years. He's watching how they have destroyed, like China. They got rid of Tiananmen Square. It's part of, they got rid of that part of their history because they don't need that. It doesn't make them look good. As an example, you know what I'm saying to you. Same thing, Trump. So he understood. So that's why they're getting rid of certain things like the insurrection and all of that. But then when it comes to a building, you're 100% right. That's when all of a sudden that mobster comes out of him. It's like,
Well,
who gives
yeah.
a shit? You're gonna
Look,
stop.
look. He went to Paris and said, I have no mark on this city other than my presence. So this is straight up Stalin shit. I'm going
Yeah.
to build something. This Arc de Trump that he wants to build, okay, to the entryway of Arlington fucking Cemetery. It will be 5 times the size of the Lincoln Memorial. Let me tell you, whoever is the next nominee for Democratic president had better swear that they will destroy those monuments and restore those buildings back to what they want and will turn it into a felony for any future president or immediate impeachment because this guy is crazy. He's mentally ill. He knows there will never be an elementary school in America in 5 years named after him. He is trying to make a mark on the city. Can I point out to you something? That he is literally trying to build the same arch Hitler had planned for the new Berlin, right?
Yeah,
Almost
yeah.
identical.
And I guarantee you where the planning came from is little Stephen Miller's in the background,
Oh,
probably
Jesus Christ.
giving
Help
it,
me, Jesus.
giving him the drawings on it. Listen, the one thing that you just think about what we're talking about and think about
Oh,
like
jeez.
the country we live in. Usually, when you see these things happening in Russia, China, North Korea, why? Because the dictator in power, the leader, is probably planning on staying there 20, 30, 40, 50 years and then passing it on to somebody else. So that's why they build
Mm.
these monuments, they build these things because they build it for themselves. They don't build it for the next guy. They're not saying, you know what, let me build. So let's now take a look at
Lev,
what's happening today.
I,
He
I
he
have been to the Reich Stadium in Nuremberg. All right.
exactly.
The
He
one that
built
had the
it.
big swastika
He
that they
built it
blew up.
he built it for himself,
Okay.
right? Because he planned on staying there forever. And
The
and and you know,
1,000 year Reich.
and Malcolm, and what do we see play out literally as he's doing all of this? Now you're seeing it, and what we've been talking about all the time, and the media, and that's why the media and the pundits are out there. No, don't say that. That is not. Now you got Steve Bannon out there again saying, "We don't care about the Constitution. He's going to run
Yeah, we're
for a
going to
third.
run for third
We're going
term.
to run. He's Trump's doing it. That's why he's building the ballroom. That's why he's building the arch. That's why he's doing all. He's not. By the time he's done building this stuff, by the time the airplane he's planning on building for himself, but you think he's doing all of this for Vance or the next president or no,
No, self
that's not.
aggrandizement.
Yeah, it's all for himself, and he's
Oh,
planning
Jesus.
on staying there. That's why you're seeing all of these things. I mean, and that's
Okay.
why he's doing what he's doing.
Well, I know we've gone long, but I have one last question. So, based on all of your experience, what you see, what you're hearing from your sources, and you got some pretty interesting sources. You've come up with a lot of shit way in advance, just talking on our Thursday podcast. Um, how fucked are we? Are we a little bit fucked? Are we plenty fucked? Or are we proper fucked?
Okay, that's a great question. The one thing I always tell you, I'm never sugarcoated. Malcolm. Like right now, we are so fucked. I can't even tell you right this
Oh,
second.
Jesus.
I mean, we are royally fucked. I mean, we are as
Okay,
fucked.
royally fucked. That's the
We,
fourth tier.
we're as fucked as you could get, because I mean he literally controls everything. But with that said, we have like this little window of hope, of opportunity, of chance, of what's it called, and it's this next year till 2026. You know what I'm saying to you, or earlier, where we have to use either the Epstein files, either the shutdown project 2020, but we have to somehow unite some more people in Congress to start
Mhm.
acting and not allowing him to invade Venezuela, not allow him to do the insurrection, not allow to be able to have because the only way we're going to be able to save our democracy is if somehow we're able to have an election, win the 2020, and I'm talking about 2026, I'm not talking about 2028, 2026, win
Mhm.
one branch of power back,
Or
and
both.
that's
Yeah, two
or
out of three.
both, but at least one. And it's not going to be an automatic stop to, like, but it would be automatic stop to the craziness, to the point where he will not we will pause, we will be at a pause until at least we will stop him from the craziness moving
My
forward.
problem, even if the Democrats get into party and they go, we're freezing all your funds, Russell Vaught and Bennett will be like, fuck you. We're just going to keep taking money from the Treasury. Fuck you.
Well,
We
this
don't
is
care
that, I agree with you.
what powers you have from the Constitution. When I wrote in Plots to Destroy Democracy, America would become a constitutional autocracy, in which the Constitution is a fig leaf, but they will do whatever the fuck they want. And
oh i
only MAGA supporters will get the rights of the Constitution.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. Well, I'm not hoping that they'll be able to
Mm.
freeze funds. What I'm hoping that once Congress walks in there, that they'll be able to somehow use the power of get some sort of oversight back, to get control of, maybe going after, the attorney general, getting rid of, Bondi or
Yeah.
Patel, or getting, changing the laws of how the marshal says. I don't know, because that's the whole key. It's the enforcement divisions that he has control. That's because you take away that power, and then he has nothing right now. But
Yeah,
it's the power.
unfortunately, that would require people who would actually obey the laws. And right now, I think at that point you go into full-blown dictatorship.
You probably
And
would.
where he goes, he orders the attorney general, every branch of the US government that has a weapon now works for me. I want you to arrest all the senior members of the Democratic Party. I want you to start rounding people up and frog marching them in orange jumpsuits to the entertainment of MAGA. And boom, we will go straight to civil war, because
Well,
the army won't do
yeah.
it. The
Well,
military won't
that's
do it.
right.
You'll start getting mutinies.
Well, that's what.
Mutinies
Yeah.
where entire units and branches of the armed forces will go, no, not doing it. But the US Marshals, the ICE is a paramilitary
Yeah,
secret police now.
ICE is all his. I mean, ICE, they're giving $50,000 bonuses just to walk in, while the government is shut down.
And
People are
they're all
starving.
getting paid that in a
Yeah,
super payday this week, right?
yeah.
Something like people are going to be collecting up to $100,000 checks this week.
Yeah, it's incredible, and that's why they're buying loyalty. Listen, they know that's exactly how the mafia does it. That's exactly how the the dictators do it. They're, because the people that are willing to sell their soul for that $100,000 to be able to go rip these families
No,
apart, because it takes a certain type of person to do that. You would never do that. I wouldn't do it. I don't care. You give me $1 million, I would never be able to do what they're doing, because you have to, have
because
to.
we have honor and integrity and believe in what America stands for. All right, so now we've screwed ourselves over for this last. All right, we're royally fucked, according to Lev Parnas. Well, Lev, it's been great. We've gone over, and I think this is really beneficial to my audience to hear from you directly, as opposed to all of us just juggling it up every Thursday, and having that background. And I want to thank you for coming on this week's edition of Black Man Spy. I'm going to bring your son Aaron on eventually, and
Yeah.
we can see how this goes. And if something amazing or horrible happens, I'll call you back. How's that?
Oh, I appreciate Malcolm. I appreciate having me. And listen, as royally fucked as we are, I still do believe in, just like you do, in the people. I believe in that our voices, our power is a lot stronger, and that if it comes down to it, if we're not able to somehow secure them through Congress or elections, then yes, eventually the people will rise. I agree with you that the military will not support them, and we will, have to take our country back one way or another,
Mm,
but I don't,
crazy.
we won't. Crazy to believe in 2025 this is where we are. I thought, this was 200 years ago, 250 years ago. We fought to be able never to be in a position like this, and here we are.
Well,
So
let's hope we can get rid of Mad King Donald the Last
we will.
and move on from there. All right. Thanks, Lev.
Take care, brother.
Well, that was fascinating. Oh, God. According to Lev Parnas, we are not merely proper fucked, we are royally fucked. But I like that he gloms onto that it is people power, that we, the people, have the ability to stop what is occurring, which is a series of nonstop crimes. And, no one knows better than Lev Parnas because he was in the system, good friends with all of the people in the White House. And he himself is concerned for the way that the American experiment has come to a crashing halt. So we should listen to what he has to say. Wow. That's the end of this week's episode of Black Man Spy. Stay tuned next week. Listen to us on Apple, Stitcher, where other fine podcasts are sold. And you can find me at malcolmnance.substack.com, on X at malcolmnance, on Blue Sky, malcolmnance.bsky.com or .social. And gosh, that's same thing on Instagram. It's at Malcolm Nance. You can find me all over the place. Just Google my name, you're gonna find me. Let's come back next week, and as I like to say, I will see you all on the beach.